Old Grognard says, let's learn the basics of D6 Star Wars with a solitaire adventure. D6 Star Wars has what are called solitaire adventures in some of their books. They use these to teach novice players the bare minimum to be able to play the game and get a feel for what the game is like. This episode was originally going to be about how skills and attributes work in D6, but I figured it would be easier and clearer just to show you. So I decided to play a solitaire adventure to do just that. I have the Best of Adventure Journals 1 through 4, and there's a solo adventure in the back. I've altered the layout to work better on screen and inverted the color in most parts. This is so we aren't looking at a wall of white that's trying to burn holes in our retinas. Let's play through it. The title of this adventure is The Void Terror, written by Peter Schweihofer and illustrated by Chris Gossett. The character we will be playing is Lady Selnia Harbright, a young ex-senator. I'll put her character sheet up here so you can see what one looks like while I read the introduction that explains how to play the adventure. You don't actually need the character sheet to play the solo adventures, but I figured it'd be useful for the introduction. This way you also get to see what a character looks like in this game. So the character background is in the capsule here, and she also has attributes and skills. Attributes are innate abilities that a character is born with. There are 6 attributes: dexterity, knowledge, mechanical, perception, strength, and technical. Skills are abilities you learn, and they include things like blaster, dodge, and brawling. Selnia has a die code for each of her attributes and skills. The die code is the number of 6-sided dice you roll when you use the attribute or skill. For example, Selnia's dexterity is 3D. If she tries to juggle something, her player rolls 3 dice and adds them together. If there is a +1 or +2 after the D, add that number to the total. For now, we're not worried about what actions every skill and attribute covers. The adventure will tell us when and what to roll. It will also tell us the difficulty number for the task we're trying to accomplish. In a regular game, the GM would tell us what to roll and assign a difficulty number. The difficulty scale in this game will look familiar to anyone that has played D&D after 2nd edition. All skills begin with the same die code as their respective attributes. Some are improved. Selnia has increased her skill in blaster, dodge, planetary systems, starship gunnery, command, con, and brawling. There are a lot of other skills, but these are the ones the character begins with. For now, don't worry about character points, force points, or movement. We don't need them for this adventure. Speaking of adventure, let's begin. Keller's Void. The Rebel Alliance always needs supplies. You were sent to Drosil to help the local Rebel cell divert some medical supplies from an Imperial stock depot. You contracted freighter Captain Roark Garnet to haul the cargo to a collection site in the Kalas system. Garnet and his co-pilot, Hawk Caro, own the Dorian Discus, an inconspicuous tramp freighter. You were just loading the last of the medical supplies onto Captain Garnet's ship when the stormtroopers burst into the docking bay, so the captain blasted off immediately, with all the cargo and 1 extra passenger, you. It was a pretty quiet trip. Then the captain decided to take a shortcut by jumping through Keller's Void. Everything went fine, until the hyperdrive cut out in the middle of the void. Looks like we pulled out of hyperspace just before we slammed through an asteroid field, Captain Garnet says. It's not on any of the charts. There's a heavy thunk outside against the hull. Great! I hate asteroids. Why don't you get yourself up there in the topside gun and blast any chunk of rock that comes close enough to hit us? I'm shutting down some of the other main systems so Hawk and I can check out the hyperdrive and make sure nothing's wrong. Ready? As you head towards the gun turret, you try to recall what you know about Keller's Void. You can do this by rolling your planetary systems skill of 5D. Roll 5 dice and add them up. Recalling this information is a moderate task with a difficulty of 15. I'm going to roll using the virtual dice roller at calculator.net. We got a 19, so let's go to number 7. You remember Keller's Void is named for the trader who discovered it as a shortcut between the Runa and Kalas systems. It's a void, so it's not supposed to have any asteroid field running through it. You do recall the nearby uninhabited Udine system having a high concentration of asteroids. You continue on to the gun mount. Go to 6. You climb up into the gun turret and peer out over the hull into space. You're scanning for any asteroids heading toward you and anything out of the ordinary. So you roll your perception attribute of 3D plus 1. Roll 3 dice and add 1. To spot anything is an easy task with a difficulty of 10. Alright, let's roll. We roll 3D plus 1 and we get 11. So let's go to 3. Flipping on your tracking computer, you don't see any asteroids from the distant field heading towards the Dorian Discus. But wait! Something's moving near the long-range sensor dish. Peering through the viewport, it looks like some black-scaled humanoid, and it's fiddling with a black box that's attached to the hole near the sensor dish. Let's try to shoot it with the blaster cannon, so we're going to go to 9. To fire the blaster cannon, you use your starship gunnery skill of 3D plus 2. Since the creature is partially hidden by the long-range sensor dish, this is going to be a difficult shot, with a difficulty number of 17. If you miss, you might blow up the sensor dish. Roll 3 dice and add 2 to the total. Alright, we don't want to blow up the sensor dish, so let's inform the captain that there's an intruder on the hull. So we're going to 5. Captain Garnet, you call over the ship's intercom. There's something out there on the ship's hull. I think it's alive. Let me check the sensors, Captain Garnet says. After a moment, he replies, Nope, nothing on the sensors. Everything's clear around the ship. Maybe you're seeing things. Happens if you're not used to space travel. You click off the intercom. Okay, we're going to go to 8. You peer out the viewport, trying to find the creature on the hull. You're certain it's out there somewhere. There. The thing is now at an exterior maintenance port. It seems to be clawing at the components inside. The creature rips out a handful of wires, then turns to stare directly at you. It watches you with its bulbous eyes over its warty snout. Alright, it's blaster cannon time. We're going to 14. To fire the blaster cannon, you use your starship gunnery skill of 3D plus 2. This is a moderate shot with a difficulty number of 15. Roll 3 dice and add 2 to the total. We're going to roll and we get 16 plus 2 is 18. So, we're going to 18. The blaster cannon flashes and blasts the creature from the exterior maintenance port. Nice shot. Whatever it was, it's gone now. And go to 25. Looks like the hyperdrive's okay, you hear Hawk declare over the intercom. Great, Captain Garnet replies. I'll start calculating hyperspace coordinates. You continue to scan the area for asteroids. Roll your perception attribute of 3D plus 1. Roll 3 dice and add 1. To spot anything is an easy task with a difficulty of 10. Alright, let's roll. We get a 7 plus 1 is 8. And we didn't make it, so 9 or less, we go to 29. Everything looks clear. Thunk, thunk. 2 more things have hit the hull. Go to 33. 2 more creatures. No, they're actually men in black spacesuits. Have landed on the Dorian Discus's hull. They quickly scramble for the aft airlock. Alright, we'll tell the captain about them, so we're going to 37. We've got company, you say into the intercom. 2 men in black spacesuits. They're headed for the aft airlock. Let's see what happens when I kick on the ion drive, Captain Garnet says. The ship lurches as the ion drive fires up and propels the Dorian Discus away from the asteroid field. The 2 men spin away from the hull, floating in space. Go to 34. As the Dorian Discus prepares for the hyperspace jump, you see a bulk freighter with a few extra guns pull out of a loose orbit within the asteroid field. Possibly a pirate ship. I see her, Captain Garnet says. Say goodbye to our would-be space jackers. Garnet engages the hyperdrive. The stars stretch and the pirates are left behind in Keller's void. Go to 40. The Dorian Discus arrives on Callus and you safely deliver your supplies to the Rebel Alliance. Good work! Despite your shortcut through Keller's void, you've managed to get your cargo into Rebel hands in time to save the lives of many brave soldiers. At this point, if you aren't driven away by my bad voice acting and are interested in doing a solitaire adventure or playing D6 Star Wars, you're in luck. Some fans made an update to the revised and expanded rulebook, and it's free online at the D6 Holocron site. If you type Star Wars role-playing game, revised, expanded, and updated into the search bar, it'll find the PDF for the book on the D6 Holocron site. There's a solo adventure on page 8 called Escape Pod Down. I've never played it, but if you want to, there it is. Wow, we covered a lot of stuff in this intro to the D6 Star Wars RPG. Binky the Chijawa's cousin Stinky and I would like to wish you a wonderful rest of your day.